seen that there was a small difference between normal web MVC and the web MVC that is provided by Spring. And it is a design pattern that we have to apply. Did you understood this architecture or I have to repeat it? Any revision is required for this architecture or you understood? Because this is the main thing here. If you understood this, you can easily create the application also. If there is any revision of this architecture is required, you can tell me. Yes, those who are joining online. Okay, fine. No problem. We will revise the architecture again. First of all, let's understand the need of this architecture. Why we are discussing this architecture? Need of design pattern. Why do we need any design pattern? The question is very simple. Why do we need any design pattern? Like if it is related to front end, back end, doesn't matter. And there is one website or one full stack application that we are going to build by using our Spring. This one. This is the website that we are going to, website, or you can say complete application. As a mini project only we will build this. Now if you want to send a protected message to someone, if you want to send protected message, let's say you are sending a message on WhatsApp and you have a thread that anyone can read, so you can encrypt that message. So let's say here I will type one message that hello everyone, and I will set a password. Let's say 1 2 3 4 5. This is the password that I have set here, 1 2 3 4 5. Now what it will do, it will encrypt this text and it will convert the text into a group of emojis. Now can you read this group of emojis? So answer is no, we cannot read what is the message. Then if you want to share the secret message, so here you can share by a lot of things. In this app there is a problem that we cannot copy the link and send to our friend. You can send using WhatsApp, right? You can send using WhatsApp. If your friend want to read the message, so at first he will do, what he or she, they will copy the emojis. This emojis looks very materialistic. Here we will write a text. Instead of emoji, we will write a encrypted text. Instead of emojis, we will keep encrypted text here. So we'll copy this, go to decrypt emojis, paste your emojis here, whatever it was giving, 1 2 3 4 5 was your password. Decrypt it, and you got the message, hello everyone. So we will build an application like this. This front end is built using React, I think. So doesn't matter, we'll build it. But there are some of the small problems here. First problem is this. It is a text area. We will keep something good here. It's a text area. So we will not keep this, right? But we will build this application as now we have all backend, database, and front end. Okay. So this is going to be our first mini project in Spring Web MVC. But instead of emojis, we will be showing the encrypted text string value. Need of design pattern. Why do we need any kind of design pattern? Now, if you are building your house, there will be an architecture of it. What will be the architecture? If there is a entry gate, on the entry gate, here you will have a garden or a parking space. This is the parking space. Here you will have other garden and all. And from here your living zone will start, where you will have separate rooms, kitchen and all. Now what is the requirement of design pattern here? Now if I am asking, will you keep your kitchen and washroom in front of each other? Answer is no, we can't keep. That is only the design pattern is where to keep which particular thing. Now how odd it will look that this is your kitchen here and in just front of kitchen washroom is there. There is no problem in this, right? But it will look odd. It will look very bad, right? You can't keep it like this. There is no natural problem, but you can't keep it like this as it will look bad and it can create problems also. That's why we need design pattern, that how you are going to design the things. Now, in case of software development, if we are focusing more on this design, so why we are focusing here? So let's understand that there is a front end, there is one back end, and there is one database, right? This is a full stack application. There will be one front end, and front end is generally visible to the client. This is your in a simple line that request will go to backend, backend will do the processing, backend will communicate to database, request will go to backend, backend will process it, backend will communicate to database, and database will give data to backend, backend will give to client. That is the thing. That is the thing or not? Answer is yes. But what is our understanding here? Who is working internally? We don't know it, right? So that only we are going to discuss, that who is the actual person working in between of this entire full stack. At first, the client will send one request, and request can be anything. Let's try to understand it. So I will open Eclipse. So this was our application for just user validation. You can do login sign up successfully. Okay. We'll just wait a minute. Now, if I'm clicking on sign up and I'm typing some of the values, and if I'm clicking on the submit button, so technically I am sending one request to the backend, and it is a sign up request that I want to create a new user. Technically that is a sign up request only. So at first you will send one request to the backend. So request can be anything, not only submit. You can send a login request as well. So what I have written here, I have written one email ID, I have written one password, and what I'm saying that I want to log in by using this email address and this password. So I am sending one login request. Now, whatever the work of backend is, check the email and password, say the appropriate response. Here I will get welcome Shankar. If I am writing something wrong, then I will get error page. It's working. How backend is handling this part in, and in Spring, how backend will handle this particular section is what we are going to discuss. So at first, the front end or the client will send one request to the backend. There is one particular person inside it that is called front controller, that is called front controller or dispatcher servlet. You can call it as front controller or dispatcher servlet. This is the first person who will accept the request. This is the first person who will accept the request here. Okay. Front controller or dispatcher servlet. Let me write the steps here. What is happening in the step 1? One request is traveling, or one request is sent by the client. One request is sent by the client to backend. Inside backend, the front controller, or both are having like names are different, person it's same. Front controller or dispatcher servlet. So inside backend, the front controller or dispatcher servlet will accept the request. They will accept the request, that okay, we are here to accept this request. That is your step one, very simple. Now, front controller will be a communication medium. It will not do any operation on database or the data or the view. There will be multiple controllers: login controller, sign up controller, data controller, create user controller, delete user controller, update user controller. User can be anything. So what we will do here, we will be having multiple controllers, multiple. Now it can be a controller for anyone. It can be a controller for sign up. It can be a controller for a login. It can be a controller for delete user or like that. Let's say it is your login controller. It is the login controller. This is the sign up controller. It can be delete controller, which will delete the things. It is update controller, which will update the things. So let's say you are having multiple control. You can have more controllers, right? And what client has sent? Client has sent a login request. Client has sent a login request that I want to log in. I want to log in with email as shankar@gmail.com and password is something like this. Okay. I am doing this. Very fine. No issue here. So front controller does not know that which controller is handling the logic of login. We'll mention it here. Front controller don't know that which controller is handling the logic of login, because which kind of request is coming? Login request. But front controller does not know that which controller is handling the logic of login. So what it will do, there will be someone as handler mapping. There will be someone as handler mapping, or you can say mapping handler, but correct word is handler mapping. So there will be someone as handler mapping. So the front controller will send the same request to this handler mapping, which is your second flow of the request. In the step 2, in the step 2, front controller has forwarded the request to handler mapping to ask about the name of the controller which is having the login logic, which is having the login logic. So handler mapping will have a connection with them. This handler mapping will check that, okay, I will check which per is having the logic of login. It will check it here, and it will return the name of the controller. What it will do, it will return the name of controller. So that becomes the step third here. Handler mapping will return the name of controller which is handling the login logic. That is the step 3. Now, front controller has got the name of controller which is handling the login logic. So what it will do, it will send one or request to the controller. What it will do, it will send one request to the controller, which is the fourth step here. Step 4. Once the front controller has received the name of login controller from handler mapping, it will forward the request to login controller. It will forward the request to login controller like this. In step 5, which will be done internally and submissively by this login controller. This login controller will communicate with the database accordingly. This login controller will communicate with database accordingly. We don't have to do anything in that. Okay. So login controller will do the operations. It will be a CRUD operation. Here, the CRUD operations will be performed. CRUD operation. Any of the CRUD operation can be performed here with the database. And when all the operations are done, this login controller will send something back to the front controller. That will be the step 5. And what it will send? It will send two things, model and view. It will send two things, model and view. Model means data, view means front end. In the step 5, step 5, the login controller will perform the CRUD operation and it will send the model. Model means data and view means presentation or front end presentation to the front controller. To the front controller. That is your step 5. Now, right now, model and data. This model, this one, and view. They are coming as two different person. Model and view. These two are coming as two different things. They should come together. So what this front controller will do, there will be someone as view resolver here. There will be someone as view resolver here. View resolver. In the sixth step, the front controller will send model and view to the view resolver. That now you combine these things. In the step 6, the front controller will send the model and view to the view resolver so that view resolver can combine model with view. It will combine them together. So we are getting one dynamic page here, that welcome Shankar. What we are getting? We are getting one welcome Shankar. Here this welcome is hard coded value and Shankar is a dynamic value. This Shankar value can change. So here this welcome is the view and this Shankar is the data or model which is coming from database. Now if I am writing some different email ID and password, welcome will be same, but Shankar will change. Shankar will change to whatever name is coming. So this welcome is the view fixed. This Shankar is the data, or you can say model. So view resolver will combine them wherever you are doing these kind of operations. After combining, the view resolver will send the page, or you can say the complete view. And the seventh step, that is your step 7, the view resolver will combine the model with view and return the page to the front controller. Return the page to the front controller. And when the front controller has got the one full page, send the page back to the client. Send the page back to the client, which becomes your 8th step, that you can call as response. That you can call as response, like this. Okay. So in the step 8, the front controller will send the page back to the client. The front controller will send the page back to the client. Now it can be a success page, that welcome. It can be a error page as well. It can be any page depending upon the situation, but it will send one page back to the user like this. So this is the architecture of Spring Web MVC. This is the architecture of Spring Web MVC. I hope now you understood it. Or still, if you are having any question, you can ask. In the controller, business logic, you can see, right? Who is doing the CRUD operation? The business logic will be written in the controllers. So I am raising one poll in the online meeting, and the poll is in which front end technology are you comfortable? So there are options like React, Angular, like, or you don't know any of them, like you don't know only normal HTML, CSS, JS. And there is one more option if you are not comfortable with any kind of front end, because now front end will start. So I should know that what I have to deal with. Okay. So I am raising the poll and you have to answer if you are an Angular person, if you are a React person, so that I can take the things collaboratively. Okay. Because I know both. I know Angular also, I know React also. For me, there is no problem. So poll is open now. You can go to the meeting and polling section and start voting there. React or Angular? Angular. Okay. Don't message in the chat box, guys. There is a poll going on in the meeting. You have to answer the question there. Don't drop it in the chat box. Poll will open for only 5 minutes. It will close automatically after that. We have only got 27 answers till now. Do it fast, guys. Okay, so here we got the answer. Most of you are comfortable with React only or like normal HTML, CSS and JS. So fine, we'll prefer React over Angular. Now, whenever I am doing the development of front end, let me clear that point out now only. If I am building something on the front end, I will consider that you understood that without teaching, because this is not a front end class. But if you didn't understood something, that how that property is working, how that tag is working, you can ask. Okay, which is demanding front end tech. All are demanding. Now what we are going to do, we are going to creating Spring Web MVC project. Now whatever we have seen in the architecture, same thing we will do in project now. Creating Spring Web MVC project, and I am not saying Spring Boot. So we will by using Maven. By using Maven, we will build the Spring, because in Spring Boot everything is automatic. So you don't have to do anything there. So creating the Spring Web MVC project by using Maven. So let's start now. We'll close all these things. Okay. File, new Maven project. Fill the basic details. When you are selecting the archetype, now don't select the quick start. Now you are creating a full application. So you have to select here web app, Maven archetype, web app. Make sure that version is coming as 1.0 only, because version is a bigger problem here. So in the step 1, what you are supposed to do is, in the step 1, create a Maven project in Eclipse by selecting the archetype as web app. Okay, first step. So I will select the archetype as web app and click on next. Fill the group ID, artifact ID and the package name. So group ID simply com.spring. Artifact ID means project name. So here I will say Spring Web MVC is my project name. Spring Web MVC, like this. And after doing this Spring Web MVC, we'll just finish. Package name got bigger, so no problem. So at last you can keep a Y here and hit enter. And Maven project is completed. So you will get this Spring Web MVC here. like this. Okay, I think in the last or last to last session, somebody asked how to configure the Tomcat. For configuring the Tomcat, you have to click on Windows, then Preference. Here you will see something as Server. Click on Server, open it, and inside Server, you will see something as Runtime Environment. Click on Runtime Environment. So here you can see that my Apache Tomcat is already added there. Now, if you want to add, so just go to your browser and type download Tomcat. So download any 10 version. So Tomcat 10, click here and you can download the zip file, right? Or the tar file and just load it there. How you will load? Click on add and go to that particular path. So like Apache Tomcat 10.1 and select that version. That's it. Here, this is the architecture that you will get. SRC main resource you will get here. SRC main web app you will get here. And inside the web app, you will get web INF. Inside web INF, you will get web.xml file and index.jsp file. Here you will not get index.html file. By default, you will get index.jsp only. Now this index.jsp is giving you some error. For solving this error, we will right click. We will go to properties and project facet. Just load the runtime there. Select it and apply and close. Still we are getting the error. So delete this index.jsp file and in the web app, I will create a new JSP file. I will name it as index.jsp. Same way. And superclass module. No problem. So after creating the file, this is a warning, not the error here. And in the body, I will just print. So let me first fix the structure. So that is how our normal HTML file is looking. And inside body, I will type h1 tag and Spring Web MVC application. And let's try to start it. So I will say Spring Web MVC, run on server, select Tomcat and finish. So here we got Spring Web MVC application like this. Means automatically it is loading the index.jsp file. In the second step, till now it is not a Spring project. It is a normal Maven project. In the step 2, in the step 2, in pom.xml file, in pom.xml file, add the dependency of Spring Web MVC. Spring Web MVC. So let's go back to Maven repository website, and here we will search Spring Web MVC, and you will get this Spring Web MVC like this. You can use any of the 6 version. Don't use the 7 version. It is under processing only. So here you can use like 6.2.3 or 6.2.5. So I will use 6.2.5 version. We'll copy it and close the server. Right now in Maven dependencies, we are only getting the JUnit. In pom.xml file, now we will add the dependency. So I'll just make it a little bit clear. Here we have added the dependency of Spring Web MVC. Just save the file. And here you can check that we have got all the dependencies like this. Now it is converted to a Spring app. So now we can define the things and all. Now let's say in the index.jsp, here I am saying one anchor tag I am writing here, that check welcome message. Here in the index.jsp, I am writing one anchor tag, that check welcome message. And here I will write one href equals to welcome. Means it will create a request to /welcome. Means if user is clicking on this anchor tag, request will go to welcome page. Very simple. So let's start the application now. I will run it on server. Finish it. So here we are getting simple thing, that is Spring Web MVC application, and check the welcome message. If I'm clicking on this, the requested resource / Spring Web MVC means project name / welcome is not available. Means there is no controller, no dispatcher servlet, nothing is there which is handling your request. Obviously we don't have. Now here you can create like last time also. How we did last time, you can create by using HTTP servlet, extending those classes and all. But this time we will not do like that. In the architecture, now I will open the architecture and we will go step by step. At first, where the request is going, to front controller or dispatcher servlet. Now at first we should create a dispatcher servlet, where we will create that. So let's understand. These are the step 1 and step 2. In the step 3, in the step 3, now we have to create the dispatcher servlet. Now we have to create the dispatcher servlet. We can create it by using create it by using XML or Java both. At first, we will do at first we will use XML approach because that is more clear. So in the step 3, we have to create our dispatcher servlet and we will create it by using XML or Java, but we will at first use only the XML approach. Step 4. Inside web.xml, this one. Already there is one web.xml file available. Already we have not created inside src main web inf, then web.xml. So inside web.xml, which is available in src main web app slash web inf. So inside this particular file, we have to configure the dispatcher servlet. So inside this web.xml file, we will configure our dispatcher servlet. So here you will get one basic thing, that web app, and web app will be having these display name and all those things like that. It will have. Here inside this web app only, I will create one servlet. So at first I will create the tag of servlet like this. You are creating one dispatcher servlet, right? So at first I will create the servlet name. The second thing that I will do here is I will write the name of servlet. That what is the name of my servlet? It can be anything. You have to give one name to your dispatcher servlet. It can be anything. So here I will give that my dispatcher servlet, my DS. Servlet name as my DS. Or for basic, you can keep it Spring DS. That Spring dispatcher servlet. However you are remembering it. You can keep your name, that Shivam dispatcher servlet, Shankar dispatcher servlet. You should remember it. Okay. So here I am keeping as Spring dispatcher servlet, Spring DS. What is the class of this servlet? So here I will say the dispatcher servlet class. Class is same, dispatcher servlet, like this, dispatcher servlet. But you know, in Java, writing class name is not enough. We have to write fully qualified class name. So you can search the dispatcher servlet like this. So this is the public class dispatcher servlet, and you can go to the top. This is the package name, org.springframework.web.servlet. So I will copy my package name and paste before the class with a dot. Now, does it become a fully qualified class name? org.springframework.web.servlet.dispatcher servlet. Is it becoming sorted? Now this is your servlet is done. Now this is your servlet, Spring DS. Okay. I'll just copy paste the code of web.xml file there. So this is how your web.xml will look. Okay, like this. In the step 4, you have created the servlet. So this is your servlet here. Okay, this is your servlet. See, I am going very slow here because things are complicated here. Till now, understood everything? Understood? Till now, understood everything? Very good. In the step 5, in the step 5, in the web app folder, create a new folder as view or views, like that. Create a new folder as views. Why? Views folder will contain all the dynamic pages. So you can create views or pages folder. Anyone you can create, but it will have all the dynamic pages. So in the web app folder here, I will create new folder. Folder name I will keep as views. So here I have created one folder as views, like this. Views folder is created. Now inside the web XML only, you have to map the servlet. This is the servlet name only. It should have a link also, that if you are requesting /shivam, then only this servlet is visible. If you are requesting /hello, then only this request is available. So you have to write a mapping for the servlet. Mapping means at which link your servlet is available. Now let's say my website name is shivam.com. Just for an example, my website is shivam.com. And I am saying if requests are coming to me from shivam.com is my address, request should come from /shivam.com/student. Now it will display all of my students, friends. It will display all of my friends. So how requests are coming? Requests are coming by using /. We have to mention it. If you are saying /shivu/friend, now shivam.com is my address. Requests are coming, friends request is coming from /shivu. That is URL of my request. I will map the servlet. Step 6. Inside web.xml file, we have to write the mapping of servlet. So whatever servlet you have created just now, we have to map it. I'll go to web.xml. So here I will write the mapping of it. So I will say servlet mapping. I will create the tag of servlet mapping. Now I am mapping the servlet. What is the name of servlet that you are mapping here? What is the name? Not your name. The name of The name of servlet that you want to map is Spring DS. Spring DS is the servlet name that I want to map. And you have to provide one more thing that is called URL pattern, at which URL slash all the request coming from this slash will be coming to this controller. That's it. If your request is coming from slash, will come to this. If it is coming by hyphen dollar, rejected. Simple. So here we have written the mapping as well. Created the servlet and written the mapping as well. So that is how your web.xml file should look now. Okay, so that is how it will look. Sorted? Understood? Now, till now we have created the necessary servlet. We have mapped the servlet. Now in the same web INF folder, we will create the servlets configuration. It has to ask to the view handler mapping. Who is the controller? Tell me the name of controller. It will ask, right? Where is that? To whom it will ask? So in the next step, in the same web INF folder, that will become your step 7. That will become your step 7. Inside SRC main web app web INF, create a XML file and name it as, you have to name it what, spring hyphen servlet dot XML. Spring DS, whatever your dispatcher servlet name, Spring DS hyphen servlet dot XML. As my Spring servlet name is Spring DS, same I will keep here. In web INF folder, we will create new file, and file here I will say Spring DS hyphen servlet dot XML. So like this, you will get this XML file here, right? We'll get this file. Now, if it is a XML file, what we need? We need DTD. So already we'll go back to the browser and search here Spring DTD. Spring DTD. So you will come to this official website, schema based configuration. So what we were doing last time, we were using these only. But now what you have to do, press Ctrl F here and search context. Context. Schema. So just search these two things quickly. The context, schema. So once you are searching that, the context schema, you will get this particular thing. Okay. Copy it and paste it inside the XML file like this. Here you will get errors on beans and all, no problem. It is Eclipse problem only. It will not affect your application. So what we are doing in the step 8, in the step 8, add the context schema of Spring inside Spring DS hyphen servlet.xml file. Now it is done. Here inside this beans tag, now what we will do, we will configure our things. So here inside this particular package, I will write my bean. So I have created one bean tag. Remember in IOC container, we were creating like this. Remember or forgot? Remember? So here we will do like this, because last time like we were doing the same thing inside the container also. But for that, bean means Java class. Bean means the Java class object. And we don't have anything here. We don't have anything here. So what I will do, I will create a new folder. I will create a new folder. And folder I will create inside src main. src main, and folder name should be Java. So that I will get something like this, src main Java. Inside this, I will create my base package, com.spring. com.spring. This is my base package now, com.spring. Inside the bean, and in this com.spring, now I will create one more package. Inside this, you can create a main class. And using this package, I will create one more package, controller. And inside the controller, I will create a class that is welcome controller. That is welcome controller. Simple like this. Now inside this bean, I will give the definition of my class. So whatever class just now I have created, I will provide the definition for that. So bean generally have property tag, name, like that. So here we will write the property tag. In the bean, it is coming as property name. You know, here it becomes a different thing. So the first thing that I will create here is I will create a class. So to the bean tag, I will create the class here. I will create the class. That which is this class? Bean should have two things, ID and class. Remember or forgot? It should have class. Class here I will write as internal resource, internal resource view resolver. Now we don't have this class internally, so 110% it will be a class given by Spring. So this is the class, public class internal resource view resolver, handler mapping. Okay. Fully qualified class name org.springframework.servlet.view. Same you can keep like this. Okay. So this is what we have created here, a bean with the class. This is the class. What here I will provide some of the properties now. Property name. prefix. Property name prefix. Why prefix? Because this class will have those things. This class will have two things. This in public internal resource view resolver, this. So it is a constructor, right? Means if you are using this class, you have to provide prefix and suffix. You have to provide the prefix and suffix. I will explain what is prefix and suffix here. So here I have provided that property name is equals to prefix, value equals to slash. Now got something? That all the request prefix will be slash only. Any request coming into this application should have slash in the starting. Pre in starting. There is one more property that I am writing here. Suffix. How all the request will end. How all the request will end. How all the request will end? .jsp. So if user is sending one login request, it will come like slash I am trying to do login.jsp, right? This is a request. So my request is starting from slash and ending at JSP like this. So that is only prefix and suffix. So after adding the schema in the step 9, configure the bean of internal resource view resolver like this, and this is how this code will be looking like after that. Now here you have provided the complete path that okay, request will be starting from slash ending with JSP. That's it, right? Now we mapped for slash for dispatcher servlets. Yes, that's why I have written slash here, right? There I have written slash. That's why I am writing slash here. If I have written slash shift there, here I will write slash shift. Okay. Now, in the next step, we have created the controller, welcome controller. So at first it should be a controller. So what I will do at the rate of controller, at the rate of controller, at the rate of controller. So we are doing like this. Here I will provide one method, that public void welcome message method. Public void welcome message method. But I will say in the index, what is the path that you are writing? Welcome path. I will map the controller here. So I will write at the rate of get mapping, that if you are getting the mapping from this link slash welcome, show this message, show this message. So it will not return void. It will have a return type of model and view. It will have a return type of model and view. Return type. Now this is the welcome controller. See the architecture again. Architecture will return you the controller will return you two things, model and view. Same class we are using here. What is returned by the controller? Model and view. So that's why I have kept it. You can create the object of model and view MV equals to new model and view, and you can return this MV. You can return the MV. Here you have to write the name of the file that you want to return. I want to return the welcome file. Now you should have this file in folder, view folder. So inside views folder, mm, mm, mm. Okay. So inside this views folder, I will create a new JSP file. So just welcome.jsp, and we will just write the boilerplate code inside this, that HTML head with the title as welcome, body as one h1 tag, and welcome everyone. So welcome.jsp page is looking like this. Okay. Now in this welcome controller, we are returning the welcome. We are returning the welcome. In the Spring, this servlet, we have written one thing as wrong. Our file will be ending with .jsp, right? But our file will not be available in the web app. They will be inside views folder. Views folder. So slash views slash. My mistake. You have to write the folder name where your JSP file will be available. So here in welcome controller will find the file where inside slash view slash with ending with JSP. So here I am saying welcome model and view. So here I have provided the welcome page. And if you want, you can add something, but as of now, I'm not adding anything. Let's start the application. So here we got the simple message, that welcome message. Click on this. No endpoint. Okay. We missed one more thing. This Spring Servlet will try to find a bean, right? It will try to find a bean inside this views folder, but we have not written the package name, that in this particular package you have to find the. So here I will write context component scan base package. What is our base package? com.spring. This is our base package, or you can give the controller only. com.spring.controller. That this is our base package. com. You have to find the controller inside this package. com.spring.controller component scan, like that. You can attach one more tag here, that is MVC. Okay, no problem. So let's restart the application now. Okay. Now we got welcome everyone message. So that is how Spring MVC work, where we have written all the components of the application one by one. We will discuss it tomorrow also. No need to worry about this. Till then, I will give you the zip file and this documentation both. Read them properly and tell me what you didn't understood. Okay. After this, in the step 9, what we will do is in the step 9, configure the home controller class. Configure the home controller class. And how you have to configure that particular class? Not home controller, welcome controller. Okay, like this. At last, I am giving you the folder structure of project also, that how the folder structure is looking, so that you can take the reference of folder structure. Folder structure of the project. Here we have com.spring. There is no need of this file. You want, you can delete it. There is no problem. So like this and like this. So here this is the folder structure of the application that we are following. Okay. This is the folder structure that you can follow. Implementing Spring Web MVC architecture. So that is how we implement the Spring's Web MVC architecture. Okay. You can read the documentation. If you find any problem, you can ask me tomorrow. Fine, guys. We'll connect again tomorrow. Have a nice time, everyone. Bye bye. Take care. We can also leave.